we'll finish it up on this one. Crichton 2x4B523P asks, Road Dogg on his podcast once told a story about you whipping half to death a jobber called The Worm during a match in Birmingham, Alabama. Or something like that. Could you elaborate on what this guy did to deserve the lashing?
No, well, it was set up. We asked him, could he do it? And he said, yeah. So I had a match with him. Then he was outside. Then I do an interview in the ring, and then I go over there, and I'm trying to demonstrate what's going to happen to Bob Armstrong, I think. So I beat the crap out of the damn worm again in the ring and throw him out. And then I say something like, I got a better idea. And I go outside where I got enough to, it was a long whip. It was like a 10-footer. Brother. And I asked him, I said, hey, this is, the end's not going to hit you, but the bulk of it will. And he was really a white, pale guy. And you could tell any kind of disruption on that skin would really show up. And I threw about 3 or 4 shots across him. And I threw it in such a way that you could hear the whip crack on the other end. That wasn't hitting him. The actual whip was hitting him. But most of the power was gone. But they finally run some people out there and got me off of him. He was I mean, it just red. It looked brutal. I hated to say I took credit for it, but Bob Armstrong grabbed the mic and he says, you know, when I see you, you're going to be getting this instead of me. So, and we drew some money with that. Bob Armstrong did a very, very credible interview because you believed him. So if he said he's going to whip your ass, he's going to whip your ass. So, and I think I was getting ready to go somewhere then. I was only there for like a month or 2. See, because I used to fill in some of these places when I think I was going to Charlotte. So I filled in there for a month and did good business for a month there with me and Bob Armstrong. It was good.
Do you know, all these podcasts we've done, I don't think we've ever told a story about Bob Armstrong. How many times did he wrestle in?
Quite a bit. Wrestling Bob Armstrong was a night off. I mean, he was over like Rover. He'd go out there, and he called himself the Bullet later on because I think he lost a loser leave town match, and he came back as the Bullet. Of course, everybody knew it was Bob Armstrong except stupid ass heels. Heels are stupid. I mean, even their attorneys are stupid. They can't look at this guy. I mean, how many people could have a body like Bob Armstrong because he was really big up here and he had legs like buggy whips? And he used to do a thing where he would stand there and he'd do his knees together with the hands and they'd go back and forth. He was entertaining, and he played a really good entrance song. And when you got him down and you started beating on him, people waited for that comeback. He had a very, very explosive comeback, and he had great timing. And why he throw those shots? Why? And he was really fun to work with. Easy to get heat on, and that's what you wanted in a babyface. You don't want to have to beat them 2 hours to get heat on them. You just wanted to do a little bit of something to him and get him down and start beating him up, getting the best of him. Then the people, they'll give it about, I don't know. Bob, when I worked with him, was probably close to, I don't know, he was probably in his mid-50s, but still had a hell of a comeback. So, and he was very easy to work with. And I remember my last match, it was a loser leave town match with him. And of course, I lost. And I said, I'm coming back. But if I hadn't been going to Charlotte, I should have come back under the mask again. And everything you could see was have the mustache hanging out. And I tell him, I'll unmask if you will. Which meant both of us would be run off and he wouldn't do it. But I went to Charlotte from then on, but Bob was a really, really good guy. He really was.
Yeah, I think with Bob is that he's sort of like the definition of a regional hit. And I think he could have taken his act further, but he always seemed to just be just in a really sort of tight area in the US.
I don't think, well, he started in Atlanta and he migrated to Pensacola, where that territory was based out of. And I think he liked it there, raised his family there. Most of his sons were in wrestling anyway.
All of them.
Every one of them?
Yeah.
There was one of them that was in. He got out, though. What was
Scott,
his name?
Steve, Brad.
Steve got out.
Brian.
Yeah. And Brad was probably the best of all of them because he had the moves, he had the body. Well, if Brad could talk like Road Dogg, he'd be a main event anywhere. So, and Road Dogg, he was a great talker, but they kind of based out of Pensacola because I guess when his kids, it just put them in school and let them. He didn't want to be changing them around all over the place. So, and he did a good job. He did a good job with his kids.
Definitely good for him. One very last thing is, did you have any issues? I mean, on-screen issues with Bob when he was the commissioner in Smoky Mountain Wrestling?
Other than work issues?
No, I'm talking about on-screen fun. You know, not like behind-the-scenes stuff, obviously.
No, he was fun just letting him do an interview. He'd look at you. And I was just an announcer, like a commentator there. So he wouldn't direct any comments to me, but he would direct them to Cornette. It was entertaining as hell because Smoky Mountain Wrestling was a throwback anyway. And when he'd bring Bob out there, and Bob never dressed in wrestling outfit. He'd always dress in like a nice tie and a shirt. He wouldn't wear a coat and wear that mask. Oh, he looked so silly. But anyway, and he was out there talking, and he was the commissioner. They did a good job there. I mean, people believe Bob, and they believe what he said. And Cornette sold it like a prince, sold it like a champ, and all of his stuff. Smoky Mountain, most of their stuff got over.